Hi everyone, your next assignment for your costume plates is to do color rendering. So I'm going to go through a quick step-by-step guide to simple color renderings. You will do an underpainting like you did on your last one, and then you will go right over the top of that with some color. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that when you do your underpainting, let it dry for a while before you go into your color. And also, pardon my reach, you might want to put some of this on there. This is workable fixative. A couple of sprays on top of your underpainting will protect it so it won't smear as much when you put real color down. This will be in the design lab if you want to use it. You'll have to go outside to do it because it's kind of smelly and people complain, but it'll take just a couple of minutes. Excuse me. Okay, so assuming that's all done, you see here I have my Miranda from the underpainting tutorial. I'm going ahead and put some color on her. Now, what color should I put on? Good question. Do a little research for the period. Since the lectures are mostly black and white, you can go on Pinterest, you can go on the internet, you can find any sorts of sources for accurate colors. I went and used, this is an actual painting of Miranda at the beginning of The Tempest. It is painted by a pre-Raphaelite artist, so the time period of the 19th century is good, which is what my Miranda is clothed in. So I'm going to use this color scheme. So she's got bright red hair. She's got this sort of teal-esque blue gown on, and then this sort of underskirt petticoat here you can see is kind of a pink. I'm probably going to magenta that up a bit. So there. Okay, so now we're ready to paint. We got paint. As you remember, I like to use Dr. P.H. Martin's Hydrus watercolors. You can use those. They are going to be in the design lab. If you have your own, great. But remember, kind of a watercolor ink. I've got my brushes. As you can see, two medium, smallish, one medium round brush, and then a flat brush. This is an angled one, but a straight one will do just as fine. You'll see why we need that in a bit. Also got some water here. You see, I'm going to put this over to the side for easy reach, and my palette, which already has some colors in it. Also, paper towel for blotting, and a scrap piece for smushing and such. Now, the thing about watercolor is you work light to dark, which means you use very light colors at first, and then you darken them up. So I'm going to kind of show you the process. It's a two-step process where we put just a base of color, block color, lightish, on the form, and then we will add some extra color to deepen some shadows. And in the end, we'll come in with a little bit of watercolor. Okay, so let's begin. We're color blocking. I'm going to do it in sort of a, it looks like a random order, but there's a method to this. Face, then I'm going to do her chemise, then I'm going to do her bowler hat, her gown, and then her hair. The reason I'm doing this way is that no two areas I do are going to be touching each other, if that makes sense. So if I do her face first, let that dry, I can do these while that's drying, so they won't blur up. Then I can do her bowler, because her face will be pretty dry. Do the bowler, let that dry, do the gown, let that dry, do the hair, so it won't be too muckety-muckety. Yes, that is a technical term. You may use it. Let's begin. Okay. The face is pretty light. I'm going to use this vermilion hue. It's kind of an orange. I've already got some on my palette here, a little dab. But I'm going to put a little more. And I'm going to try not to get my big old head in the way. So if I do, sorry about that. I really am trying to be better at that. Okay. A small esque, the smallest, second smallest of my brushes. Now there's a lot of water, again, even more so with the face, because you say, what are you doing with that orange? I'm just doing the barest. Also, you see over here I have a little bit of this sort of mustard. We'll throw that in there. Faces are awful. I still have issues, whoops, with faces, but I think if I'm careful, it won't look too terrible. Pink and pearly. You can see barely any sort of color at all. I'm just dabbing it on. Pretty light. You don't want to muck up too much yellow. There we go. Just mix it. And then water. So much water. So very much water. Okay. Pinkish, I'll buy it. There we go. Yay, face. Okay, let's go on to the petticoat, underskirt, chemise. Pink in my drawing. I'm going to go a little bit more in the lavender field. I have, pardon my reach, somewhere. Oh, violet. It's a quin violet. Quinacridone. Please don't write letters. It's violet. I'm going to use it. I already have some set up right here. With a slightly bigger brush on this one. I'm going to use 2 brushes actually. Plenty of water. Make sure excess color is wiped off. Small brush, bigger brush. That is brown. That is not what I want, son. There we go. There we go. Water, water. Paint, paint. Smear, smear. A little too dark. You remember, it's easier to add color than take it away. So there, I'll take that. More, please. Trying to be consistent in the tone of color. There we go. And you see, I'm kind of dabbing. I don't want to smear too heavy because it might smear the undercoat. And that's not what I want. Okay, and you can see the underpainting coming through and defining some shadows. So far, so good. She's got this underneath. We're just gonna juice that up. All right then, there we go. So, well begun is half done. Ooh, let's straighten her out. All right, I'm gonna go up to the bowler hat. Bowlers are generally black. So I'm gonna use that. I keep rinsing. I'm using the same brushes. I'm not beta brushes. I don't have a bunch of medium brushes hanging around. And I'm also lazy. So I'm just gonna do, it's watercolor. I'll rinse it off, put it back in. Use the smallish medium for some black. Again, don't oversaturate the black. Light to medium. Oh, I hate getting away a little bit, sorry. There we go. And you see the face is pretty dry by now, so we're good there. Okay, we are rolling. Now it's time for the big kahuna, that gown. Which is a blue. I'm going to do a blue with a little bit of green in it. It's called Phthalo Blue, P-T-H-A-L-O. Well, I was going to show you the can, but I can't seem to find it. Oh, here it is. Not that it matters. Phthalo Blue. It's a larger swath. So to be consistent, I got to be a little more aggressive. So I'm going to start with the round. I'm going to do the bodice, and then I'm going to take the flat and do long swoops. So this will be the longest of them, but it should work out pretty well. Okay. It's not really a teal. It's kind of bluish, and I'm just gonna start down the bust. Now, the truth about watercolors, you got if it's large swaths like this on the rendering, you need to work fast, because if you let it dry in one part, you get what's known as a dry line. I think that's what it's called. That's what I call it. Which shows a definite line from when you started. Yeah, here we go. I'm just following the contours. Keep going. Trying to keep that texture consistent. This is pooching out. This is going to be a highlight, so if it's a little lighter, that's okay. Ugh, I don't have much water on that at all. There we go. Now we're talking. There. Also, water lets you, obviously watercolor. So the more water, the more it's going to flow consistently. How much water's too much? No such thing. I'm also using the edge of my hand as kind of a guide. I'm laying it on the paper. I'm trying to keep consistency. And look at that. Lovely. All right, this is too easy. Man, anybody can do this. Shh, don't tell anybody. All right, hair. Again, because it's purple, we're going for the red hair of Miranda. I'm going to use that vermilion hue again. Just more saturated, i.e. more color. Let's paint more color. Yes, sir. Oh, sorry. It's pretty dark underpainting, so it's pretty dark here, but I'm okay with that. Lastly, look at this. This is like 10, 11 minutes. Man, can it be that easy? Yes, it can. I'm going to do these lace ruffles. They're white, but we're not just going to leave them white. I'm going to tag that a little bit. Sorry, let's make that a little... There you go. So we're going to give them a very subtle bit of brown, this Venetian brown that I have. Lots of water. Just the barest hint, just to show this is a very light color, kind of a vanilla color. I'm actually going to grab some water and push that paint off. Okay. Now let's look for some painter holidays, like right here is a painter holiday. A little bit of swoosh between these two. I spy a little blue holiday right there. Oh, that's too much paint, mister. Those big ones, you're not careful, you'll get holidays for days. Holidays. Okay, I'm not going to belabor the point. Now, there we go. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself, for a quick fix. Okay, I'm going to take the big round, and now here's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of deepen some of the colors in the folds, right? We got this help, like in the folds of this gown, but even while it's still damp, we're going to add more color to show depth, to show shadow. Under the bust line, and I'm just adding more color. I'm not adding anything else. No Payne's gray, no black, just the color. And if we're lucky, whoops, slow do you roll there, Pops, you'll start to see shape coming out. I'm a little bit outside the lines. That's okay. I'm trying to teach you guys this in a hurry. Okay, let's do the same real quick for the bodice, or not the bodice, the chemise. Just using the color, just the violet. Dabbing, just dibble dabble, wrinkles. Black, please, for the hat. Look, we got it. And the good thing is you don't have to do the labeling if you've already done it. You know, and you got a little shading, and you got pretty much, whoops, a rendering. Now, a couple of quick things while I have it before I run out of time. I've already done one. I'm going to add a little something something. Her face isn't as great, but we'll live with that. The only non-watercolor you need to buy is a white acrylic. Why? And a white acrylic that's hard to open. There we go. Highlights. Just a few. You'd be very sparing. If I have a flaw, well, I have many flaws, but one of my biggest is just over highlighting, so I'm going to try not to do that. I'm going to hope this tutorial will keep me disciplined. Oh, I lost my cheat sheet. There it is. Just like you see here where this sticks out a little bit, you're just going to give it maybe a little highlight. Just a smudge on the apex of the bust line. Not too much. Maybe a little bit of swoop. I think that's remarkable self-restraint for me. I don't want to do too much more. Like I said, the hardest highlines are going to be on this gown. It's probably too much. I'm going to add a little water to that. You can add water to acrylic. Okay. There we go. And that's the only time you will use a non-watercolor. Now, we also have this cool thing here. These are called, if you have them, we have these in, so these are watercolor pencils you can use. So for instance, if I wanted to add some shading to the face, which who doesn't, you can use this. You can see how well that works, just to kind of show that shading. And then it's pencil, but it's watercolor. So you can add that as well. Add some on. You shouldn't have to reline it. You've already relined it, so you don't have to do that. But you can play with these. I'm okay with it. And add definition. So there we have some lovely, simple, I like this one better, so I'm going to bring it back. Oh, two of them. Some lovely, simple ways of doing simple color renderings. This stuff will be in the design lab if you wish to use it. Terry, I know you have your own setup at home. That's cool too. I wish you all the luck in the world with this, and thank you for playing.